is the biggest bad guy character in professional wrestling?
When's the last time you got laid?
French Toast is the exchange student that you have like a 3-week affair with.
Like, we can see that you don't have pants on.
Can we tell the truth about Dusty sooner or later?
Bro,
like-
less people wanted that than are currently watching our stream.
And you know Vince, and you still think, are these true? It's like...
Welcome to the Mark It Down podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mark It Down podcast. I am James Gisanti, and it's Friday night, so shouldn't really be doing this usually, but once a month we are here, and we are covering TNA Impact. Tonight was TNA's Against All Odds pay-per-view. They have been building a ton of momentum. They've been running with a lot of steam, as they have been all over the place. As we know, and TNA Knockouts champion Jordan Grace, recently appearing in NXT, has certainly brought a lot of eyes to the product, and we are all the better for it. You know how it is here in the Gym Pack Zone. We cover all things TNA, all things Impact, and just going to cover a little bit of news first before we really get into the show, because unfortunately I couldn't cover the show last night. The latest news coming out of the backstage scene with TNA is that Scott D'Amore is still under the payroll for TNA. He is still being paid by Anthem, and he will be until 2025. So if you're wondering why Scott hasn't popped up anywhere yet, that's why. He's still likely under contract, and he's got a no-compete clause, I'd imagine. So give it time. Let's see where he's going to land. But we're here, like I said, in the Gym Pack Zone. Against All Odds was a fun show with some questionable decisions, but either way, okay. Welcome back, JL. I didn't know you were a junkie, buddy, but I mean, it's okay. No judgment here. But we're going to start the show. I'm not really going to get into the pre-show stuff. I apologize, guys. I didn't really get to cover everything. I didn't get to see everything. I did enjoy the match with Gresham and Kushida. Not Kushida, I'm so sorry. Sami Callihan, that Kushida got involved in, taking the ink for some sampling, for some testing. I think that's going to be a really fun thread to play with. And let's see how that continues into the future. But yeah, sorry, not going to spend too much time on the pre-show. Let's see what we got in the comments. No, JL, he wasn't. I'm not even going to put it up. You know the deal. This is a Jeff Hardy household. And yes, as we saw in the title of this video, Jeff Hardy is back in TNA. Jeff Hardy, a free agent from AEW. His contract ended today, and today he shows up in TNA. But we'll get there. Let's slow our roll. We'll deal with that in a second. I apologize, guys. It is just me tonight, so I'm dealing with all the social media by myself. And you know I love you no matter what platform we're on. But we start the show with a tag match as Steve Maclin and Mike Santana take on the Rascals. So, guys, I'll just say it out the gate. It was a good match. I enjoyed the match, and I am surprised at how well Santana and Maclin worked together. They had a great amount of chemistry for guys who, to my knowledge, have never teamed up before. I don't know if they've ever crossed paths before, but they absolutely gelled tonight. We'll just get to the end real quick. They did pick up the win versus the Rascals. The Rascals, who did put on an admirable effort, but still succumbing to the team of Maclin and Santana. I am never a fan, or I don't want to say never, but it's very rare circumstances that I am okay with a makeshift team beating an established team. I know the Rascals are heels. I know that even though despite being former tag team champions, they are essentially the villains of the week for a lot of the roster, that they serve a role of taking losses. They serve a role of putting other guys over, even though they do still get their wins. But it is always frustrating to see the tag team division sometimes treated as lesser to treat the storylines or to treat the advancement of singles wrestlers. I'm a little more accepting here because of Macklin's background as a tag team wrestler, Santana's background as a tag team wrestler, but they played into a lot of, at least commentary played into a lot of the history with Macklin, that he has tried teaming with people in TNA. He's tried creating alliances with people in TNA, and it never really sticks. It never really lands. Always coming out on the losing side of it. So I do think that there was room for this makeshift team to lose and still look good. But I do get that Santana is the new kid on the block, or at least one of them, and they are very heavily establishing Macklin as a babyface. So I'm willing to accept it. I do feel bad for the Rascals, but I do think they are more than capable of bouncing back. I think they'll be fine in the long run. It is a bummer when stuff like this does happen. But like I said, both Macklin and Santana just looked great. Having a lot of exciting tandem offense. I love their bit where they have both Rascals in the corner, and Santana hits a cannonball, and Macklin hits his spear into that corner. I think he hit Wentz, who was upside down. Just great stuff. The finish coming as Santana is taking on Wentz, and Macklin stops Miguel from using that spray paint that has gotten him so many wins in the past. Santana and Macklin then hitting against some tandem offense, and a spin the block gets the win. 1, 2, 3 for Santana and Macklin. After the match, the crowd chanted for them to hug it out, but I think we were all okay settling for a handshake. So good work from both of these guys. They had made it clear before the pay-per-view this is going to be a one and done, and not to expect much more tag team action from Santana. Let's see if that sticks, but we all know why he's in TNA in the first place. I don't know. Is that a sled? And okay. Okay, a sled and a scooter. Thank you, Danny. Always appreciate it. Rev, love having you here, brother. Thank you for being here. I do appreciate it. I know we had spoken earlier, pod mates, about a little bit of help tonight. Quite frankly, given the title of the show, I'm kind of glad I am doing this on my own because I do need just pure positivity. We are getting those comments. We have a castle and a house. No, a hut, maybe. I think that's a hut from Danny. But I do appreciate you guys throwing these comments my way as I'm able to deal with social media a little bit longer on my own. But yeah, good start to the show. Great way to get the crowd hyped. And let me say, this crowd was super into them tonight. Chicago, I know we have a love-hate relationship with you guys because you guys get everything. AEW's favorite city. We know WWE doesn't hesitate from going to you guys either. But you brought it. This was a much smaller venue. Obviously, TNA is not running the same venues that AEW and WWE are, but they had a packed house. And in that packed house, they brought the energy. They brought the heat. Lots of fun chanting. Lots of energy. They did not hesitate to chant for who they wanted to chant for and be there for who they wanted to be there. So Chicago, you did kill it tonight. I got to give it to you. And wow, Danny, you are killing it in the comments. Thank you for that, buddy. I don't even know. But moving on to our first singles match on the main show tonight, we had PCO, Perfect Creation 1, taking on Rich Swan, who was with AJ Francis. Now, AJ and Rich came out first. AJ cutting a promo on the Chicago town, saying how it's the worst city in the United States of America. I disagree. I love Chicago. I do. I really do. Chicago's a great town, and they always bring it. Even though they do get a little oversaturated in the wrestling market. Just saying. But he's wearing a Scottie Pippen jersey, saying that he feels like he's the Scottie Pippen of the business. Because I don't even know. I couldn't. I'm sorry. I paid attention. I did. But I just, come on. Jesus. Anyway. The match gets started after PCO makes his elaborate entrance. And PCO quickly overpowered Swan. this was the typical PCO match. We know how these go. You know, they're never long, they're never barn burners. PCO does heavy damage not only to his opponent but to himself as well. He did have to contend with Francis, who kept trying to distract him and kept trying to get involved in the matchup. Swan was able to capitalize a little bit, hitting a 450 splash. There was a great moment where PCO had Rich hung up on the ropes by his legs, like sort of at an angle with his neck on the mat, and he hits I think it was a moonsault, just absolutely just brutal spot from Perfect Creation 1. As the match continues, PCO trips Swan up and knocks Francis off the apron. He then dives onto AJ to the outside, and then PCO hits the PCO salt for the win. Now, the story there is whatever. I don't necessarily see a digital media championship reign in his future, because I'm sure he is still going to feud with AJ Francis. But the real story is what happened after the match, as PCO, celebrating his win, is welcoming Steph DeLander, his little crush. Steph DeLander coming out to the ring with the love note that PCO wrote for her weeks ago. She gets on the microphone and answers his request, answers his question, yes or no. We are whatever French for no is. No? I don't know. That feels wrong. But she said she needed time to think, and after thinking about it, she says we. And she would go on a date with PCO. I'm sure we'll be seeing that on Impact moving forward. I know who Scottie Pippen is. Rev BX in the comments saying that we really need him for the basketball references. I'm never gonna say no. I know who Scottie Pippen is. My point is, it was just so ridiculous that I couldn't acknowledge it. I couldn't process it. Probably something about him being a Hall of Famer, but never being considered the best. You were close. The idea was everybody always talks about Jordan. Nobody ever talks about Pippen, and he feels similarly. Nobody ever talks about him and gives him the praise that he deserves. Even then, I just gave more than I gave that more than he deserved. Ridiculous. Scottie Pippen is awesome. We then go to our first title match of the night, as the TNA World Tag Team Championships were on the line, as the system, consisting of Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers, defended against the Nemeth brothers, Nick Nemeth and Ryan Nemeth. Nick being, of course, the former Dolph Ziggler. Shocking many, last night's episode of Impact was the first time we have ever seen Nick and his brother Ryan teaming up in a match. A few weeks ago at the last Premium Live event, or I believe it might have actually just been Impact, Ryan teamed up with Matt Hardy and was able to get the win over the system, allowing a little bit of momentum for his side, as Nick was just coming back from being injured by the system previously. Chris in the comments, hey Chris, it's been a while. It's Bailey's birthday soon. I hope you send her a gift to her P.O. box. But yeah, no, happy birthday to Bailey. This match, I would have been fine either way, even though I had just said that the Nemeth brothers only teamed up for the first time on last night's Impact. They're not really a makeshift team. These are brothers who know each other and have teamed up, I'm sure, in life many times, whether it's on a stand-up stage or whatever. I know that they know each other. I know they have chemistry, so the rules are a little bit different here. The Nemeths were in control pretty early on. Nick hitting both champions with drop kicks. Of course, Eddie's wife, Alicia, interfered. I should note, even though, again, we didn't really cover the pre-show, Alicia and Masha did retain the Knockouts Tag Team titles on the pre-show. Masha, who is definitively not a part of the system, but Tag Team champions alongside Alicia. Eddie, of course, then attacks Nick, and bizarreness happened here, guys. Dirty Dango, of all people, comes out to ringside and argues with Alicia. Alicia then gets ejected from ringside, and Dango stays by, I guess, the Nemeths. Eddie and Myers then double team Nick, and then they just isolate him from Ryan. Ryan tags in, gets the hot tag, clears house, and Myers then unfortunately drops Ryan with the spear. I guess I'm a little biased here. I guess I am rooting for the Nemeth. Edwards then drills Ryan from behind, and the champions control. They keep Ryan grounded before eventually rallying, bringing out Moose because the system can't do anything the right way. Moose comes out. Nick fires up with his own flurry of offense. He hits Famouser for just a 2 count, and then Edwards and Myers double team Nick. Nick is able to rally again and then tag in Ryan, who takes out Myers. The Nemeth brothers then double team Eddie, but someone, and again, emphasis on someone because it was very confusing, breaks up the pin. It looks like Moose. I think it was Moose, but Dirty Dango is still by. Dango, as the referee is distracted by Moose, then attacks Ryan, setting up Eddie to hit the Boston Knee Party for the 1-2-3. So I don't know if this means Dirty Dango is officially part of the system. I think that would be a weird move. It's not necessarily the choice I would make for that group. I like the group. I do, guys. I really do. I do think they're missing a little bit of heat. I don't know whose fault that is. I think Brian Myers is a great hand. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be punny with the good hands. I think Eddie Edwards is obviously a all-time TNA great. And I think Moose is a dominant champion. But there's just something about this trio that is lacking. And while I do think maybe a new member would do wonders for the group, I don't think Dirty Dango is that guy. I think we're closer with Frankie Kazarian, who we're going to talk about shortly. But even then, something feels off. I think they need a young talent. I think they need a hot heel to be part of their team. But let's see. Who knows? Maybe Dango's not actually a part of the unit. Maybe he's a friend or an associate, a la Frankie Kazarian. But regardless, that was the end of our tag team title match. And Dango did celebrate with them after the bell. But moving on, we have a backstage interview with the ABC, who are getting hyped up for their tag team match later on against Josh Alexander and Eric Young. I am on pins and needles every time the ABC are on screen, just because you guys know how much I love them, and I don't want to see that team break up yet. I think we're getting closer and closer by the day, but I'm just not ready. My heart can't take it. We then go to Jordan Grace being shown getting stitches on her ear after her earring got ripped out at her NXT title match at Battleground. Now, guys, I will cover that a little bit because I didn't cover the NXT pay-per-view last Sunday. I will talk about it briefly, but I'll do that when we get to the Knockouts title match. But, yeah. Moving forward to what was the most baffling match of the night. Just, I can't process how this match went. We have Joe Hendry. Could have really used him today, not gonna lie. Taking on the self-proclaimed King of TNA, Frankie Kazarian. Now, Hendry cut a promo pre-match that I thought was great. He talked about wanting to be here tonight in Chicago with TNA. I think a lot of that was in reference to the fact that a lot of people are expecting Hendry to make an appearance tomorrow at Clash at the Castle, maybe in regards to Drew McIntyre, or maybe just making an appearance in general, but he made it clear his allegiance is to TNA. I thought that was a great job. I thought it was a great thing to do to you and me both, Dan. Oh, that felt weird saying Dan. No, don't like that. Danny, my bad. Danny in the comments saying, I can't believe Joe Hendry lost. We're going to talk about it. I just don't understand. I'll be honest. I don't get it. I know that they're all right. We'll get into it. But yeah, he cuts that promo. He makes fun of Kazarian, of course, and then the match starts. They feel each other out, and Hendry quickly overpowers Kazarian and slams him. Kazarian is able to gain the upper hand and ground Hendry, but Hendry counters with a crossbody into a slam. Oh, I'm sorry, he doesn't counter with a crossbody. He counters a crossbody into a slam. Frankie is able to evade the standing ovation and get a 2 count after a small package. He levels Hendry with a clothesline, and Hendry is able to hit a pop-up powerbomb to even the score. Kazarian then scores the win after getting the better of Hendry on a belly-to-back suplex as he landed on top of him. Now, it wasn't super clear, and they did need to talk about it afterwards and show it, that during a replay, they showed Kazarian loaded his fist with a weapon, something that I couldn't quite see, and he hit Joe while he was up top for the suplex, knocking him out and thus allowing him to subdue the much more powerful and younger star. After the match, Kazarian continues to attack Hendry and locks in a chicken wing. This brings out Hendry's trainer for the match. It was super weird. I still don't know why they did this. Ace Steel. Ace Steel came out and confronted Kazarian. Kazarian shoved Steel, who then dropped him with a punch, sending Kazarian going and Steel standing tall. Now, I know Ace Steel is a Chicago boy. I know they probably wanted to give him a moment, and I know that, and we'll talk about it in a bit, they're going to give him a moment on Impact. I don't think it needed to come at the expense of Joe Hendry. I don't know why they hyped him up for this match, because he wasn't even ringside for Hendry. He came out after the fact. Hendry was on his own here. It was from the announcement of Steel to the match itself to the finish, none of this made sense. Hendry is without a doubt TNA's most viral star outside of probably Jordan Grace. I'd argue more so. He is the hot talent. He is looking to break into that main event. And a loss to Frankie Kazarian is not the way to get there. And again, that is not a knock on Frankie. Frankie is a great talent. They are trying to keep him at either like floating around the main event scene, either at the top of the mid card or the bottom of the main event scene. But this was just a weird choice. And if this is so Ace Steel, I'll just talk about it afterwards. A little later on, I'll cut ahead. Frankie is backstage complaining about what happened with Ace Steel, and Santino Marella approaches him and says, you know what? Fine. You're going to get a match with him, and you'll be able to get your revenge on Impact. It'll be a Chicago street fight. It'll be a fun matchup, I guess. But why are we giving time to Ace Steel? Take away my bias towards the man because of everything that happened with Punk and AEW. But beyond that, he's not an active member of the roster. Why are you giving him a moment at the expense of Joe Hendry? Just bizarre booking. I didn't like it. And I like Frankie. I like Kazarian. But this was not it, especially with what happens later on in the evening. But anyway, just going back to the comments real quick. Danny in the comments saying he still wants him to show up. I agree. I think if WWE is smart, they put him on a private jet and they just have him ready for tomorrow. I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if it might be a very long flight for a very quick appearance, but I would do it. I would absolutely do it. Danny saying, all my homies believe in Joe Hendry. You have no idea how true that is. Say his name. He will appear. But anyway, enough complaining from me. We're going to move on to our next matchup as the TNA X Division Championship was on the line as Mustafa Ali defended against Trent Seven. As it is, look, I don't have anything against Trent Seven. He's a good talent, a strong talent, but I've just never been a Trent Seven guy. He is my third favorite guy from his group, from British Strong Style, from Mustache Mountain. He was just never really that guy for me. And being in this tag team with Speedball Mike Bailey just makes me wish they did more with Speedball Mike Bailey. And quite frankly, I would have rather him have this title match against Mustafa Ali. I would have much rather him get a pay-per-view match. But Speedball not even allowed in the building for this matchup, as was, who was it? Who did Mustafa have? Oh, Campaign Singh not allowed in the building for this matchup. Danny saying, "Got to make a Joe Hendry horror movie." That would actually, I would make it. That would actually be really funny. Danny saying, "Dude is Bloody Mary." I think you could actually have a lot of fun with that. A very viral. God, man, we just got to get got to get with TNA's good graces. Their social media stuff. We got gold here. But anyway, going back to the matchup, before the match started, Trent rolled footage of Ali's recent interview where he can be seen just berating his security team. As the match starts, Mustafa takes the fight to 7 really, really early on, really right out the gate, and they head to the outside, and 7 goes for a chop, but Ali moves, forcing Trent to chop the steps. Trent then regains control of the action, but Ali catches him with a very acrobatic DDT, something that shouldn't shock us if we're at all fans of Mustafa Ali. He then dove onto Trent at ringside. Trent is able to dump Ali with a dragon suplex onto the floor, and then both men get back into the ring, and Ali regains momentum, hitting some strikes onto Trent. 7 rebounding with a slam and grounding Mustafa. This was very fast-paced action, guys. I definitely missed some stuff. Like I said, I'm not a huge Trent guy, but I can acknowledge he is a great performer, and he did bring it to Mustafa. Ali dropped 7 with a neck breaker, and both men go back and forth. Ali was targeting Trent's leg throughout the match, especially in the second half of the match, and Trent sold it very well. I believe it was his left leg. As he's going after that leg, Trent dumps him on his head. Trent then hits a sit-out powerbomb, but behind the referee's back, Ali hits 7 with a low blow, getting a 2 count after his sort of rainmaker mocking Trent. 7 then slams Ali off the top rope, only getting a 2 count. Ali goes for a 450 splash, getting a 2 count of his own. And then as Ali is trying to hit Trent with the championship belt, the referee takes it. It's almost like that's what the referee's job is. And as the referee is distracted, Trent goes for a low blow of his own. Turnabout being fair play, as Tom Hannafin pointed out on commentary. After that low blow, he then hits a burning hammer. Burning hammer. We're just seeing this move a lot lately, guys. He hits that burning hammer and gets a 2 count. Gets a 2 count. One of the most devastating moves in professional wrestling. Trent 7 getting a 2 count with it. Gotta love it, guys. Gets that 2 count. Ali is able to get up and go for the leg once again. It was actually a really good spot as the men were on the outside. As Ali gets back in, he gets up to the top rope. Trent goes to dive back into the ring, breaking a 9 count, and that's when Ali hits him with that 450. Beautifully done. Very great timing. I know it's a very divisive thing seeing people just Superman their way out of 10 counts at the 9, but this was a great way of doing it. Desperation on both men's parts. 7 just diving back into the ring, and Mustafa immediately capitalizing with that 450. Work of art. Great work from Ali. And instead of going for the pin and getting the 1, 2, 3, he then locks in a sharpshooter, making Trent tap out. This was beautiful work from Mustafa Ali. Beautiful work from Trent 7. The Chicago crowd, not caring who the good guy or the bad guy was, they were 100% behind Ali. Maybe 98% behind Ali. There was some support for Trent. Ali is just an extraordinary talent. This isn't something that I think surprises anybody. He's just been killing it since his release from WWE. And whether it's House of Glory or TNA or any other indie that he's been showing up in, he's giving 110%. I'm glad the crowd is behind him. And let this X Division reign keep on ripping. Unless Speedball is challenging, then I have to think about it. But regardless, great work from both men. Mustafa Ali's X Division title reign, once again, looking dominant. We then go to our next tag team match of the night. I believe it might actually be our last tag team match of the night. Yes, it is. As Josh Alexander and Eric Young take on the ABC. Now, guys, I know I complained to you a few minutes ago, saying, you know what? I don't like these makeshift teams winning against the established tag team. Even if in this instance the established tag team has a little bit of grievances, a little bit of animosity maybe. But thankfully, I didn't have to worry. The ABC picked up the win, and I am just aflutter. This was another very strong matchup. Again, Josh and Eric Young having surprising chemistry. These two guys, I guess being bald is their connection here. Just they were able to work it together and they looked good, and I enjoyed the matchup, and of course I enjoyed the outcome. Bay and Young started the match, and Bay gained the advantage pretty early on. Young answers, and the match sort of resets. Austin then tagged in and squared off with Josh. I love this because personally, when I think of TNA, I think of Josh Alexander and I think of Ace Austin. I think these are the two guys that are going to help carry the company for a very long time. That is, I guess, if Josh sticks around. I don't know anything about his contract. I know Ace re-signed for a few years just a couple of months ago. So at least Ace will. Both men are feeling each other out, and Bay tags in and takes Alexander down with a Hurricanrana. He keeps things rolling with a double stomp, and then Young tags himself in and gets double teamed by the ABC. They isolate Eric, and they continue to control the action. Chris and Austin continue to double team Young as they maintain the advantage. Eventually, Alexander tags himself back in and clears house. Bay and Alexander lock in. I don't know how to explain this. They just did it. The ref wasn't looking, and both men just locked in on each other's junk. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know what to tell you. They just really... And you know what? It looked painful. It didn't look fun. It's not something I would recommend to anybody. You know how they say, don't try this at home, unless you're into it. But, consent is sexy, guys. But either way, ouch. Ouch. After that very uncomfortable spot, both teams keep it back and forth. Josh and Austin trading shots. Ace dropping in with a side Russian leg sweep. Alexander then goes for the dive, but Ace is able to evade it. Josh traps him in an ankle lock, but Bay is able to break it up. Eric Young then dives onto the ABC, and Josh traps Austin in another ankle lock. At this time, Bay comes in and makes another save, and both men double team Alexander. There was a great strength spot as Josh picks up both Bay and Austin and just slams them. I got to tell you guys, Josh is a physically imposing, strong guy, but he's not huge. He's not a big, tall guy. But that power, you cannot fake it. And it was an awesome spot. You should go check it out. Eventually, after that, Eric Young is trying to rally, but the ABC rocking with stereo kicks. Ace then rocks Josh with a kick of his own, and then Bay drills Young with his own kick. Look at that chemistry. Look at it. Look at them back at each other's synchronicity. Young, the finish coming as Young accidentally hits Josh, incapacitating him, and the ABC hit the fold, getting the 1, the 2, and the 3. So I'm very interested to see where this goes moving forward. Chris, happy birthday to Bailey. 35 years young, still got a long way to go, a long career ahead of her, many more. But I am very interested to see where this goes, because we've all been, or at least I have been, very much fearing the potential breakup of the ABC, and instead we saw miscommunication from the other team, as Young accidentally took out Josh, and that led to their downfall. I wonder if this means we're in line for a feud between Josh and Eric. I've been long waiting for a heel turn for Josh. I think it is way past due. I think he needs a little bit of an edge to him. And what they're doing in WWE with Chad Gable, I would love to see them do in TNA with Joe Hendry, with honestly a little bit more edge. Let that guy just break ankles. Let him pile drive everybody in his sights and let him be a force. I would love to see a reverse. Now that Steve Macklin is babyface, let's get a reverse feud. Now we get Macklin as the babyface versus Alexander as the heel. I think that would be great, and I think both men are really in line for a good trajectory. We then go to our Knockouts title match, our open challenge for the TNA Knockouts World Championship, as Jordynne Grace defends against a mystery opponent who they made very clear for the weeks leading up to this that it wouldn't just be TNA, it was throughout the entire wrestling world. I am going to cover now a little bit of NXT Battleground, as Jordynne Grace did challenge for the NXT Women's Championship against Roxanne Perez. I'm not going to go through the entire match, but I'll just tell you the gist of it. Jordynne looks great. Roxanne looks great. As somebody who's not super familiar with the NXT product, I was very impressed by her. I think she looks great. There's a reason she is the NXT Women's Champion. And both women just delivered an excellent matchup. It was a bloody affair. I told you, Jordynne had her earrings accidentally ripped out during the match. It was speed versus power. Both women just top of their game. Shawn Michaels is cooking in NXT, and let these women just absolutely over-deliver. The finish of that match coming as Jordynne was getting ready to pretty much put Roxanne away. NXT talent, Tatum, I'm sorry, I'm still getting used to it. Tatum Paxley, who has been craving gold. I guess it doesn't matter what set of gold, what championship, from where, comes out, goes ringside, grabs the belt, grabs the TNA Knockouts Championship, tries walking away with it, tries leaving, going up the ramp, only to be stopped by TNA talent, Ash by Elegance. Ash kind of making the save, grabbing the championship, taking out Tatum before getting rocked herself by Jordynne Grace. Jordynne and Ash have certainly been beefing on Impact the last several weeks, over the last month or so, so it's not exactly shocking. But that distraction allowed Roxanne to pick up the win and beat Jordynne Grace. I was disappointed in that outcome. Personally, I think Jordynne rocking both belts would have done wonders for everybody involved. Creativeness, first off, welcome. Creative saying he is so fucking happy Jeff is back. Sorry for swearing, but I am happy. You know what, creativeness? I'm so fucking happy too. I am too, so don't worry about it. Welcome to the stream. I'm going to talk about the main event in a second. We just got to cover the knockouts first. But welcome, stick around, and know the excitement is shared. But I was disappointed in the outcome of that NXT match. I get why they did it. It certainly opened up a door, a forbidden door, no matter how much you want to make fun of the name Triple H. And it opened up for this matchup tonight here in TNA, as to the surprise of no one who watched that NXT matchup, her mystery opponent was Tatum Paxley. Yes, shocker. Sorry, I got everybody hype. I was really hoping for Becky. I guess this is better than Natalya. Maybe, I don't know. But before the match could even get started, the personal concierge, Ash by Elegance, came out, introduced her, saying that Ash was going to watch the match, but given how dangerous and unpredictable Jordynne is, she was going to watch from afar, and they brought out a seat for her at the top of the ramp by the entranceway. As the match gets started, Jordynne overpowered Tatum pretty early on, pretty easily, but Tatum playing the psychological mind games. This is my first time being exposed to Tatum. Of course, I did see her at the NXT pay-per-view, but this is my first Tatum Paxley match, and she is incredibly unique. Very, I don't want to say seductive, but very alluring in her movements, very creepy in kind of a hot way, I guess. But anytime she was on the mat, basically inviting Jordynne with a series of leg bicycle kicks and hand movements that I don't even know how to describe. For the benefit of everybody, I'm not going to recreate it here on the pod, but playing those mind games with Jordan pretty early on. Jordan continued to control the action, getting Paxley to crawl under the ring, and this distracts Grace, and this allows Jordan to get distracted by Ash by Elegance. Paxley then pulls Grace headfirst into the steel under the ring, and then allows her to take her into the ring and trap Jordan in a single leg crab. Jordan then slams Paxley and hits Grace with an under pressure just for a 2 count, and Paxley evades the Juggernaut driver but beats a back elbow. Jordan then hits a muscle buster, again only getting a 2 count. Both women are going back and forth. Paxley gets a 2 count of her own. Both women going to the top, and Paxley hitting what is called the lobotomy, a nice swinging neck breaker from the top rope, again only getting a 2 count on the champion. Jordan takes control again. Paxley tries to trap her with a guillotine, but Jordan is able to hit a Juggernaut jackhammer. I love that name, by the way. I don't know if we've called it that before. I think we have, but just got to say, I love the Juggernaut jackhammer. And it was an impressive feat of strength, as she was able to pretty much deadlift her into the suplex position and then hit that jackhammer. Again, only getting a 2 count. Paxley then tries dropping Grace with a kick, but Jordan is able to fire back up, hit a Juggernaut driver, and get the 1, the 2, and the 3, and a successful title defense for Jordan Grace. Now, I got to say, Jordan looked absolutely dominant in this matchup. I think she needed it after the match she had against Roxanne, losing to the other champion. She still needs to look strong. Granted, she was protected in that loss, given all the shenanigans, but our champion needed to look good, and look good she did. I am sure there's a lot of us who are hoping for a bigger name talent for this crossover on the TNA side. I think for the time being, we're basically going to be seeing TNA crossing over with NXT. If it does reach the main roster, that would be awesome, but I'm not expecting it. But I understand the benefit of what they're doing here. I didn't know who Tatum Paxley was before this. As a TNA fan, not that it excludes me, but I don't actually watch that much NXT. Because of Jordan's appearance in NXT, I got exposed to talent that I don't hear about that often, or I don't know that much of. Tatum just got opened up to me. She's a talent that I'm now super into, and I'm super looking forward to seeing more of in the future. It would have been great if we got Jordan Grace versus someone like Becky Lynch or Chelsea Green or whoever, but I know who those women are, and I already love those women. So give me a talent I don't know, and I think this is working for everybody involved. Creativeness saying he moves like he's younger, and thank you for welcoming me. I mean, no, we love having you guys here. The more you comment, the more we can interact. We love talking wrestling here. Chris saying Tatum Paxley is creepy. She kind of is, but it's working for her character. I think this is a great, interesting character, and I'm excited for the growth of this young talent. But good comment, Chris. But yeah, after the match, Ash by Elegance attached Jordan, hitting her with that like bejeweled like ring stuff that I don't know. Hitting her in the leg as Jordan is celebrating on the top rope. She goes to hit her again, but Jordan hits a massive spine buster onto Ash, sending her to the outside, throwing her pretty roughly. It was pretty funny. Jordan then grabs the knuckles, the bejeweled knuckles, threatens the concierge, but dumps champagne all over Ash. Ash, who is blinded by it, flopping around like a fish out of water. I know this is what's next for Jordan. We've been building here for a while. I think it's the right move. I don't know the outcome. I feel pretty safe in Jordan retaining, but they clearly have a lot of plans for Ash by Elegance. So let's see what goes with that. We now are going to move on to our main event, which was nonstop from bell to bell, guys. It was just pure chaos. We had a broken rules match for the TNA World Championship as Moose, the champion, representing the system, took on broken Matt Hardy. Now, guys, Matt Hardy explained earlier earlier in the night what a broken rules match is, what that means. It means the rules are broken. Yep. That was the explanation we got, and quite frankly, it made sense. This was a no DQ match. Anything goes. It was just violent from bell to bell in the best way possible. We had chairs, we had kendo sticks, we had tables, we had ladders, we had football helmets. It had everything. Right out the gate, Matt Hardy brought the attack. As the bell rings, let me say, before the two men really got at it, the Nemeth brothers come out and attack Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards, taking them to the back, just leaving Moose with only Alicia Edwards. As the brawl is going back, Matt and Moose get the fight started. Hardy dumps Moose with a clothesline, and then going for a twist of fate, he hits a DDT instead because Moose was fighting out of it. Matt then dumped Moose hard. This was right on the edge of the ring, right on the apron. He hit him with a massive side effect. My back hurt after watching it. Hardy then dropped Moose on the floor with a twist of fate, finally hitting it. After a little bit of time, Moose crawls around to the commentary table and grabs a trash can lid and just wails Matt in the face. It was kind of an awkward camera angle because we saw it was happening. We couldn't see Matt. They weren't focusing on him whatsoever. They were only focusing on Moose. The surprise factor was gone there, but it is what it is. Moose then hit Matt with a chair and gains control of the action. Matt then hit Moose below the belt, low blow, and blasts him back with the chair. The fight then spills into the crowd. Moose rams Matt into a wall, and Matt counters with a power bomb. Matt then inexplicably walked up the stairs, posed with the crowd, and then walks back down before attacking Moose again. We were expecting, or at least I was, a jump of some sort. It was super silly. I don't know why they did it the way they did, but I guess Matt is the smarter of the two Hardys because he knew not to make that jump. The fighting then goes back to ringside, and then they get back in the ring, and Matt takes control. Moose countered a twist of fate and slammed. Moose countered a twist of fate and slammed Matt, and then drilled Matt with a cookie sheet. Moose then superplexed Matt onto a pile of chairs. It was a rough spot. Matt then rallied with a power bomb onto some chairs of his own. The fight then, Matt then brought a box into the ring, but got hit with a garbage can lid once again. Moose opened the box and pulled out a New England's Patriot football helmet, of course, getting boos. He puts it on and goes for a tackle, but Matt is able to send him crashing into the outside area, onto a chair that was onto a ladder that was propped up against the ring and on a chair. Gnarly spot. Matt then grabs a football helmet of his own and just hits Moose with a Chicago Bears helmet. Cheap pop, but it worked. Matt then sets Moose up onto a table on the outside. He climbs a ladder and then hits an elbow drop. No, I'm sorry. He hits a leg drop to the outside. Matt, man, you're finally moving well enough that this is just crazy. Go for an elbow drop. Go for a splash, brother. You didn't need to hit a leg drop off of a ladder. That's insane. But anyway, after putting Moose through the table, he hits another twist of fate in the ring this time, but Alicia breaks up the pin by hitting Matt with a kendo stick. This then brings out Rebecca Hardy. Yes, guys, Rebby Hardy back in the Impact Zone. Rebby comes out, takes her earrings out, and takes the fight to Alicia. The women are on each other, rolling around in the ring. She tries to help Matt, but as Moose is against a table in the corner, Matt goes for a running spear through the table, but Moose dives out of the way and pulls Rebby into the way, Matt spearing his own wife through the table. After he gets up, after realizing what he had done, he walks right into a spear for Moose, getting the 1, the 2, and the 3. Moose retaining the TNA World Championship. Matt immediately crawls over to Rebby to go see if she's okay. The system come out again. Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, and Alicia, who is, I guess, the MVP for Moose here. The system then attack Matt and attack Rebby. Matt covering his wife with his own body, taking all the damage like a true gentleman. Chivalry is not dead, ladies and gentlemen, and ladies and gentlethems. This brings out the Nemeth brothers again to make the save, but they are overwhelmed by the system. Then, of course, man said his name. Joe Hendry tried coming out for the save, immediately bringing the fight straight to Moose himself, nobody else, but he is overwhelmed by the rest of the system. As all hope seems to be lost for the baby faces, familiar music hits, and Jeff Hardy makes his way back to TNA. I will say, guys, I was a little disappointed. A tradition has been broken. Jeff didn't do any of his patented trademark dancing. There was no silliness. Jeff came out with a painted chair, immediately attacked the tag team champions, and then brought the fight to Moose. He clears house, hits a swanton bomb, stands tall with Matt, Joe Hendry, Rebecca, and the Nemeth brothers as the TNA crowd is sent home happy. Brother Nero, I knew you'd come. Had to do it once. Excellent way to end the pay-per-view. We all knew Matt wasn't winning, but this was a great way to send the crowd home happy. Jeff Hardy, whose contract with AEW officially over as of today, signs with TNA today as well. Look, guys, I'll be honest. I wish that the AEW Hardy run ran a little bit better. Jeff's issues got in the way, unfortunately, once again. But TNA is a magical place for the Hardys. It's a broken place for the Hardys. So I hope that Matt and Jeff are there, at least for a little while, maybe reclaim one last set of tag team gold from TNA. I'm sure that'll cause some tension with the Nemeth brothers. But that was against all odds, guys. I very much enjoyed this pay-per-view, despite some questionable booking decisions. I'm super excited Jeff Hardy's back, and so is Creativeness. There you go, Creativeness. You took my line from me, but I'm glad we're sharing it. I do have a lot of you with me tonight, so I just wanted to say thank you. If you're a first-timer like Creativeness, please hit that subscribe button. We love having you guys. We talk all wrestling here at the Mark It Down podcast. We talk WWE, we talk AEW, we talk TNA, we talk New Japan, we talk, I guess, from the Honor sometimes, whenever there's a pay-per-view. We talk all professional wrestling, and we do appreciate each and every one of you. We love having you in the comments because that's what we are. We're a bunch of marks here. We want to mark out with you guys. So please, thank you for being here. I do want to end on a little bit of a personal note, guys, and I do hope you indulge me. I apologize if I'm about to kill the mood a little bit, but last night I lost somebody very important to me. My grandma passed away, and I had a very close relationship with my grandmother. This hurts a lot, and instead of focusing on the sadness, I want to talk about something that brings me a lot of joy, and that was my relationship with my grandma through wrestling. I've been watching wrestling since I was a very young kid, and my grandma knew that I loved wrestling and would call me every Monday night, every Thursday night for WWE, for Raw, and for SmackDown. And she would call me 10 minutes before the show to let me know, hey, WWE's on. And it became our thing. And as more nights of wrestling showed up, as it wasn't just Mondays and Thursdays, but it was Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Fridays, my grandma called me for every one. And even when there were nights that there weren't wrestling, I'd let her think that there was wrestling on. So she would call me and she would look for it on the TV. And my grandma loved watching. She would watch WWE and she'd hate it when they talked and she would just love it when they fought. She would always say, he needs a punch in the mouth. And a lot of the time she was right. I'm gonna miss my grandma very much, and as much as I'm gonna miss her, I'm gonna hold on to those memories. And whenever I watch wrestling, 5 to 10 minutes before it starts, I'm gonna think about her. And I hope you guys have somebody who encourages your love of wrestling the way my grandmother did. And I just want to say, I love you, Grandma. And if you guys have someone that you love like that, and if you have someone you care about, wrestling or not, give them an extra hug tonight. All right? Show them that love. But I thank you guys for indulging me. And thank you guys for your comments. I'm not going to get through all of them, but I see your love and I appreciate it. And I'm going to go back to the happy. This was a great TNA pay-per-view, and I'm glad I got to watch it with you guys. I'm glad you guys stuck with me tonight. And I will see you guys next Thursday in the Gym Pack Zone. We were supposed to do a giveaway tonight, but unfortunately, just with everything going on with my family, I wasn't really able to organize it the way I should. So we're going to try to do an autograph giveaway in the next week or so for TNA. I know I got to announce the Becky Lynch autograph giveaway, but we'll get to that soon too, so just please bear with me. Chris, I'm very sorry for your loss, my friend. Rev, love you too, brother, and creativeness, thank you. I appreciate it very much. But guys, wrestling makes everything better. So thank you so much. This is the Mark It Down podcast, and when we cover TNA, this is the Gym Pack Zone. Thank you for being here. Please like and subscribe. If you don't want to just follow us here, check us out on social media. We are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we are on X, we are on TikTok. We're everywhere. So join us in on the fun. We will be here tomorrow for Clash at the Castle. And God willing, Joe Hendry will be too. And I hope you guys all have a great night. Thank you for being here. And as always, watch wrestling. As always, watch TNA. Good night, everybody.